Good afternoon, sir. A warm welcome to all from NFSU Goa campus, the National Forensic Science University with the status of institution of national importance is the world's first only the university dedicated to the forensics, behavior, cybersecurity, digital forensics and allied sciences. The objective to fulfill the acute storage shortage against the increased demand of the forensic expert in the country and around the world. As we all are celebrating October as a National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, along with Cyber Jagruta Divas 2022, as a part of that event schedule, we are hosting our another expert session with Dr. Deepak Kumar, sir. It's our immense pleasure to host you, sir. Welcome you, sir, at NFSU Goa. Virtually, we are going to proceed with this particular event today. Dr. Deepak Kumar sir is a senior digital forensic and cyber security intelligence professional in the India. He has been working on several consulting and investigating engagement with organizations such as academia, corporates, national and international law enforcement organization, the government sector and the public sector undertakings. He is presently engaged with the projects related to the cyber threat intelligence, security operation centers, and capacity building in the area of cyber crime and digital forensics domain. He holds professional international certification, skill in the operational and cyber security, digital forensics, social media intelligence, incident response, blockchain, industrial control systems, fraud detection, counterterrorism, and national security, etc. He is also trained 8,000 plus high-ended professional individuals till date, also awarded with the various industry recognized certificates, received several appreciation from the senior officials from the ministries, law enforcement department, defense organization, academia, and media as well. We are happy to announce over here, sir is on board with us. Over to you, sir. And we are
Hi,
taking all the queries at the end of the session. You can also type your queries in the chat box. Over to you, sir.
thank you. I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Just one second. Thank you once again. For inviting me in this platform. I'm even NFSU alumni, 2011 batch. जब forensic start हुआ था. Anyways, it's great to be. To be here. From the cyber jagrukta as well, cyber hygiene initiative, which is being initiated by Ministry of Home Affairs (MHA), and working with MHA. It was a very interesting thing because sitting at here, you can able to do various in the area of cyber crime, cyber security as well. As we know that in India, cyber security perspective, certain NCIPC are the nodals basically. It's like कोई अगर concern होता है, talking about power sector as well. So NCIPC is there, NTRO has का unit है basically. Similarly, CERT India is also there. CERT India में कंप्यूटर इमरजेंसी रिस्पांस टीम के साथ NIC CERT भी है जो बेसिकली वर्कआउट करती है. And the good thing is what maximum people from NFSU are there who are the part of basically their team as an analyst, as a consultant, as a program manager, as a technical expertise basically. Today the topic which you have given me or I'm going to discuss, that is more about the threat intelligence and the threat intelligence in the area of ICS and OT. That is basically a very interesting, and as we know that today morning itself, yeah, yesterday itself, टाटा पावर का काफ़ी न्यूज़ में आ रहा है कि अटैक हुआ ऐसा करके, और काफ़ी क्वेश्चंस माइंड में आते हैं कि if that is the power sector, then what CERT India is doing, which threat actor has been attacked or something like that. And the information which we are getting from internet or open source platform, that is only with us, or maybe some threat hunters are there who having a real information in the area of like what kind of strains are there, what kind of ransomware attacks are there basically. So, before starting with the session, this is a disclaimer because working with, various organizations, sometimes it create a issue. So, this is the concern, the topic, the discussion, the experience which I'm going to express over from this session. That is from my personal concern. That is not linked with anything. So, that is, if something will come, please let me know in person, which is there. So, starting with some important session, like as we know that we are getting a various uh, infrastructure based attacks, or you can say, I mean, people perspective, or any entity perspective, organizational perspective, or you can say any critical national infrastructure from a government perspective. Even if you say from a Ukraine, or international perspective, like Russia, and they are also doing various cyber attacks basically through internet. Similarly, when you talk about government sector, banking sectors, financial sectors, and even though manufacturing, strategic, as well telecommunication, insurance, retail, hospitality, various sectors are there which is directly linked with I mean the people, those who are working with government or behalf of government, or you can say organizational perspective, as a stakeholder, as an intermediary. So the question here is like, these attacks are happening in case suppose a banking sector, finance sectors, then what happened? It's very easy to understand. Like हम काफ़ी मूवीज़ भी देखते हैं, काफ़ी सेशंस, काफ़ी वेबिनार्स में, और काफ़ी वेब सीरीज़ में भी देखते हैं कि जब कोई अटैक होता है तो कंट्री या कोई स्पेसिफिक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन रुक सी जाती है, और वेरियस कंसर्न्स हो सकते हैं, डेटा लॉस, डेटा ब्रीचेस, इंटरनेशनल पर्सपेक्टिव में ब्रांड अब्यूज़ होना किसी चीज़ का, या फिर फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड्स इनिशिएट होना, या फिर डेटा एक्सफिल्ट्रेशन, जो चोरी करके या डेटा ले जाना और उसको नेशन के अगेंस्ट में किसी इकोनॉमिक वॉरफेयर में या हाइब्रिड वॉरफेयर में अटैक करना। मतलब इट कुड बी एनीथिंग, इट्स नॉट स्पेसिफिकली डिफाइंड और डिजाइन कि अगर कोई बैंकिंग सेक्टर अटैक होता है तो सिर्फ वो फाइनेंशियल थ्रेट ही दे सकता है। Similarly for the hospital and other sectors as well. So you decide from your perspective, like if you keen into hospital sectors, what kind of, security checklist, compliance regulations are there, like high tech, HIPAA and all different things are there. Let's see some concern, like today itself we can see Tata Power says hit by cyber attack, cyber attack, cyber attack, cyber attack. The question ये है कि, what kind of attack it has been done? I mean, when you read from Economic Times and different entities, even though some blogs or some references are technical, जो हाँ technical content लिखे जाते हैं कि this attack was because of this ransomware. Maybe somebody can like this ransomware having this tactics. Maybe some can write the IOCs or hash values. So sometimes what is happening, like it depends on like what kind of open source intelligence or gathering or hunting you or a person has performed, even though he's a part of this attack. Maybe he's a part of any forum, or maybe any channel or any group or any WhatsApp or XYZ. So that is thing. So as much as when you read from open source, that is one entity. And if you read or study, or if you have a chance to interact with that particular company, like उस company में क्या चल रहा है, इस company में क्या चीजें हो रही हैं, so that is the different angle as well. So now this is something else. And similarly, when you see from a different attack which has been happened earlier, so that is also there. When you see about सीता सर्वर जब हैक हुआ था एयर इंडिया पर्सपेक्टिव में, तो इफ यू सी फ्रॉम माय लाइक द पीपल हु इनटू फोरेंसिक्स और थ्रेट इंटेलिजेंस, वो बेसिकली ये चेक करते हैं कि कैसे हुआ, किसने किया, कब किया, what are the ways basically, what are the technical footprints, what is the attack medium, attack surfaces. So that was very keen. So like when you're talking about the hacking perspective, you heard about various threat hunting tool, or you can say hacking tool perspective, or pivoting perspective, or you can say mapping, threat mapping perspective, or you can say like recon for gathering those information, or attacking to get into any servers or a medium. That is which is very important to do extraction, to do analysis into the same. So for us, this is the concern. We don't worry about what happened, like उस अटैक होने के बाद कितने पैसे गए, किस कंट्री ने क्या एक्शन लिया, कॉम्प्लायंस क्यों फॉलो नहीं हुआ. That is a policy framework, something different matter. But from a forensics perspective, or threat hunting or instant response perspective, these are the key indicators which is really important. And again, the major problem, like जो सबसे बड़ा एक one of the cyber threat which you can say about, that is called ransomware. Even those companies, like I don't want to give the name of those companies, even you better know. even though they are getting hacked day by day. They claim that they are the best. They claim that they are providing good services. Sometimes they are also cyber security or threat intelligence companies. Even though you can say Mandy and you can say Accenture, you can say anything, they are getting stamped by these kind of attacks. So what is the thing? What is the worry point behind this one? The worry point is about the threats. Threat could be technical, threat could be non-technical. If I'm saying technical, it's mean piece of code. I'm talking about exploits, vulnerabilities, and attacks. But when I'm talking about non-technical things, it mean that we're talking about uh, like human error, talking about supply chain attacks, talking about insider threats. So the combination is really important to know, like what kind of getting things are there. So starting 10 to 15 minutes, I would like to uh, create a base or create a setup like to understand the connectivity of cybercrime with cyber threat with the economic warfare, which is very important. So just stay with this. Now this is one example. Similarly, moving ahead, we have seen various breach has been happened on internet, on data breach or data theft perspective. So do you know, even we know that even some person claim that like सर आपका डोमिनोज पे आपने क्या डेटा क्या पिज़्ज़ा ऑर्डर किया था किस एड्रेस पे किया था आई मीन दैट आई कैन एबल टू से बट द क्वेश्चन इट इज़ लाइक एक स्पेसिफिक टाइमलाइन का डेटा ब्रीच हुआ, उस पहले उसका डेटा नहीं है। जिस टाइमलाइन पे हुआ, जिस टाइमलाइन पे वो कंटेंट अवेलेबल है, उस इन्फॉर्मेशन को एक्सेस करके व्हाटएवर थिंग्स इट इज़ शोइंग ओवर देयर दैट can be available on some third party or you can say dark web URLs and some samples even though it was available. But the question here is इसके बावजूद भी कंपनीज और जो सीसोज हैं दे आर क्लेमिंग दैट नहीं हमारा कुछ डेटा लीक नहीं हुआ हम वी आर सेफ the client data is completely safe like this. So this is a statement. So because of the absence and there's no I mean a clear guideline regarding the data privacy and I mean the issues or kind of things still I mean recently April में certain के नई directives आई हैं, that is separate part, but still these things are there. Even though you heard about recent various dark web based attacks where uh, company could be anything. It could be lava. It could be even Indian oil gas. Indian oil, not gas. Indian oil. Assam based case even. Even though like lava company, Indian based mobile, even the data source code completely leaked. This is the screenshot which is shared by thing. So this is there, which is still we can see on day to day basis. Forget about database, about the dark web. Even though you talk about from the surface web, various platforms on media files, where I mean on Google Drive as well, and various in AWS Amazon based S3 bucket or I mean misconfigured database servers, which you can say. Even though database are being leaked or hacked or they dumped, अब डंप हो रहा है या हैक हो रहा है उसका फॉर्मेट क्या है, वो किस फॉर्मेट में है, एसक्यूएल में है, जेसन फाइल में है, एग्जैक्टली। तो समटाइम्स इट इज नॉट ओनली द इंफॉर्मेशन विच इज देयर कि लीक हुआ है, इट इज समटाइम्स ऐसा कि वो डेटा क्या था, डेटाबेस किस बैकएंड में था, किस फॉर्मेट में था, किस पर्टिकुलर मेथड से अटैक हुआ। सो दिस इज द थिंग विच वी स्टडी अबाउट द आईसीएस पार्ट, लाइक the IT part. But when talking about how they link with organized campaign, so this is the catch which I'm trying to pointing here, because cyber security is one thing, but when it's linked with cyber crime, that is a serious concern. So अपने इंडिया में थोड़ा सा एक gap रहता है learning के लिए. So when you talk about from international perspective, different countries having different mechanism. So here when I'm talking about organized campaign, that is a kind of that cyber threats which is linked with cyber crime. Means suppose करो कि कोई एक ऐसा सर्वर है, एक ऐसा टेम्पलेट है, एक ऐसा बेसिकली यू कैन से लाइक फ्रेमवर्क है जो मैलिशियस है और डेटा कलेक्शन के लिए एक्सफिल्ट्रेशन के लिए यूज़ किया जाता है। जैसे आप देखिए व्हाट्सएप पे और various social media platforms like Facebook, Tinder, Twitter, Instagram, हमें काफ़ी एड्स आते हैं, एड्स और कुकीज़ ले जाकर के दे शोइंग एवरीथिंग, एंड इवन दो व्हेन वी ट्राई टू connecting that ads maybe it will redirect to some website, maybe it will ask to download some sort of mobile application. After that, maybe that application having some sort of vulnerabilities deliberately, and they're trying to collect or exfiltrate information from our mobile phone. And after that, that information may be used for various cyber security or crime perspective. अब यहाँ पे I'll give you two example. If anything came from phishing perspective, that phishing mail or phishing SMS may ask to log in some website, or maybe to verify something, or to use some sort of thing. So suppose if a link is linked to I mean to log in some websites, mean that they're taking our credentials. So it's mean that the credentials could be a Facebook, it could be a website, could be a banking. So it means it's linked with what? Linked with financial frauds or cybercrime. But the same thing when you're talking about any link which is linked to download any particular PDF file, and that PDF or Excel file may contain some sort of macros, or may contain some pre-embedded exploit. While clicking, it may create CNC, means may create a backdoor, it may create a malicious malware onto your machine. And that phishing mail also used to create CNC to exfiltrate the data. So medium is what? Medium was the phishing link, the attack medium, but the motive was different. So here we have to understand the linkages of these particular in a forensics perspective, like how a single phishing can threatening to both area in a cybercrime perspective in this cybersecurity. That is one area. So we have seen various Adeco, Just Mobi, and various international perspective of things over there. Even though so ISO-VA, which is recently surfaced, I mean, in Indian cyberspace, where they're trying to coming through a malicious rogue application in Android. Hence, it's an open source platform. So that is the one thing. Again, when you're talking about international attacks perspective, so these are there which is running some sort of CNCs and attacks and cyber uh, adversaries, you can say, which is in a very big platform. आप देख सकते हैं कि NATO का bunker ही यूज किया गया, I mean for initiating some dark web server host करने के लिए. और अगर आपने ऐसी मूवीज ऐसी सीरीज देखी होंगी तो you'll get to know exactly things. So these are influenced from there itself, or sometimes these are deliberately created. Remember, it's not about the only technical things. It's not about the open source intelligence. It's something about the human intelligence as well. So this is one where they do have 200 servers with various things they have seized. There are various internet mechanism which is being used. They are using various VPNs to being anonymous into the area of the same thing. So similarly, these are the thing which is there. And again, what happened? It has been captured by this kind of Interpol, Europol, you can say. And if they claim that we have been used a very interesting or kind of VPN services as well. So this is the thing. So this is the scenario which we have studied. So now what I have covered about the technical perspective from the dark web based attacks or data breaches or exploit selling information. Exploit sell किए जाते हैं. अब देखिए, जब इंडियन ऑयल का अटैक हुआ था रैंसमवेयर का बेसिकली असम का, तो थ्रेट इंडिकेटर्स पहले ही मार्केट में जनवरी को पब्लिश कर दिए गए थे. अटैक हुआ था अप्रैल में. मीन्स इफ द इंफॉर्मेशन हैज बीन शेयर्ड अर्लियर, इट can be patched, it can be used that int as an early warning to secure their intra. So it's the game is about what? The game is about the threat part, the intelligence part, and that is a very beautiful domain to understand exactly what is what. So this is one which I have covered one, and linking with cybercrime perspective, which is also second. So let's start with some questions which you can give answers, which you can think from your side, like this. So we live in the digital age. Actors, criminals also do. But what are the top cyber threats? Think adversarial perspective. So if I'm saying to you, so think yourself like if you want to go with a company called pharmaceutical, or if you want to work with a company like Amul, India, or maybe you work with a Reliance, or maybe in a Lockheed Martin to secure a helicopter or a big choppers as well. So think all the areas, all the domains are somehow linked with some sort of cyber. In that thing, if any at any IT and OT, I'll cover next, like what exactly is IT and OT, information technology and operational technology as well. But the question is like, if I'm saying कि आपके लिए साइबर थ्रेट्स क्या हैं? अगर आप किसी गवर्नमेंट एंटिटी में काम करते हैं या फिर आप किसी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी में काम करते हैं या फिर काम करेंगे फ्यूचर में। सो थिंक फ्रॉम योर साइड व्हिच इज़ रियली इम्पोर्टेंट बिकॉज़ every threat intelligence is not same. Priorities are different, threat actors are different, hostile contents are different, attackers are different, TTPs are different, criminals are different, motives are different, softwares are different, policies are different, XYZ, everything is different, but the fundamental is remains same. So the entire game is what? The entire game is about the data, and this is the beautiful thing which is important. We are using WhatsApp, we're using Telegram, we're using different tactics. Don't you think like these are safe? Safe is something else, and uh, like is that the data which they contain is with us or not? The data what they're doing, that is, that intelligence what they're doing, that is something else. So entire thing is what this the game the entire game is about: the internet and the storage. Internet and the storage. So internet governed or ruled or empowered or monitored, or I mean taking control by which organization, which country, which entity, which five eyes or 10 eyes. That is one thing. So let's start. So here we start with the data part. Is I'm trying to convey in a very simplest manner that like how you can uh, I mean differentiate among data, information, intelligence. You can see from both pictorial manner where you got a random things where you have to sort it in a proper manner, arrange in proper manner, then you can visualize, and again you can pick those things which is actionable, and that actionable information known as intelligence. So remember always, if you working in threat intelligence companies or making their career in forensics and threat intel, आप कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन अगर आपको मिलती है वह इंफॉर्मेशन कितनी एक्शनेबल है, कितनी सोफिस्टिकेटेड और कितनी कॉन्फिडेंशियल सीक्रेट है, दैट इज वन. सेकंड, हु इज द राइट पर्सन और एंटिटी जहां आपको रिपोर्ट करनी है, rather posting something on different platforms or open source showing that yes we have found something. So that is a biggest loophole which is there in the story. So this is one. I hope you understand clearly about the data part, intelligence, which is very important. So me and you, we have to think about the intelligence. That is really good. It could be in a various manner. Some terms are there just for briefing perspective, so this is also important. देखो, एक साइबर थ्रेट की जब बात करते हैं, ऐसा थ्रेट जो साइबर से लिंक है, जो हमें मतलब कह सकते हैं डिस्टर्ब करने के लिए या डैमेज करने के लिए यूज किया जाता है, दैट इज वन थिंग. साइबर अटैक, हम जब साइबर 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 यूज़ करते हैं, डिजिटल यूज़ करते हैं, मतलब हम ऑनलाइन हम बेसिकली बेसिकली बाइनरीज़ की बात करते हैं. सो दैट साइबर अटैक is again which is attacking where in a computer networks or systems. So that is the attack. It could be DDoS attack, it could be any watering hole attack, it could be anything. But when talking about the CTI, that is a very buzzing word you can say. आजकल जिसको देखो थ्रेट इंटेलिजेंस, साइबर इंटेलिजेंस यूज करते हैं. यस, बट उसका मीनिंग भी मालूम होना चाहिए एग्जैक्टली व्हाट एग्जैक्टली दैट्स मीन. इफ आई एम सेइंग forensics intelligence, then do you think what exactly we're talking about? We're talking about the intelligence which pertains under the area or the bucket of forensics. In this CTI, it's a basically a standard protocol for sharing information which is called feeds. feeds होते हैं, input होते हैं, XML format में, tis, taxi, IOCs, TXT, various format. It could be in image, it could be in base64, it could be in any manner. That is one. Similarly, it contains about information related to bad actors, which is exploit. It could be malware. It could be vulnerability. So, just a query, just a concern with you. If you read exactly which particular malware has been attacked in this data power sector, just find it, and also find the TTPs. Like, if you can able to find or identify exactly from internet or from your source or from your friend circle or from your anything from your references. So these are three things: cyber threat attacks and CTI. But now we have to jump today on the OT part. What exactly is OT? OT is nothing. OT is basically operational technology, which is where we talk about एक ऐसा isolated platform जो नेट से कनेक्टेड नहीं है डायरेक्टली. एक इंट्रा प्लेटफॉर्म जो एक किसी कंपनी या किसी इंडस्ट्री को आप ले सकते हैं एग्जाम्पल में समझने के लिए, जहाँ पे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की जाती है कंटेंट को। सो ऑपरेशनल टेक्नोलॉजी, ऐसा टेक्नोलॉजी जो ऑपरेशनल है बेसिकली, इज कंसिस्ट हार्डवेयर्स, softwares, which is basically to monitor and control the processes, which is various components which is being used like SCADA and DCS as well. That is OT part. When you're talking about the ICS SCADA, so ये 4-5 पॉइंटर्स हैं जो सिर्फ फंडामेंटल में समझने हैं। इसके बाद हमारा स्टार्ट होता है थ्रेट्स को, which is there. So ICS is what exactly? It's an industrial control system, which is a very important component or sub-components of OT, which we can say. And it contains what? It contains all the devices. यहीं पे सारा लूप होल होता है, systems, controls, networks जो basically manage किए जाते हैं. So that is the important point where a DCS, like distributed control systems, as well as SCADA, which is being used. So what exactly SCADA? SCADA is the full form. SCADA is simple, like अभी आपको मैं समझाऊं, जैसे इसराइल में जब स्टक्सनेट वाला अटैक हुआ था, इसराइल नहीं सॉरी, जब अटैक किया गया था, ऐसे क्लेम किए जाते हैं। सो उनके जो कोड थे, उनके जो मेथड थे, जिस सिस्टम पे सर्वर पे अटैक किया गया, उनके जो कह सकते हैं कि डिवाइसेस थे, या जो भी पीएलसीज कह सकते हो, मतलब इफ यू गेट इनटू टू डिटेल, उनके सेंसर्स में, जिसको बेसिकली डिस्टर्ब और डैमेज करने के लिए इनिशिएट किया गया। सिमिलरली स्काडा सिस्टम इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, जो सेंसर्स, आईआईओटी, जिसे इंडस्ट्रियल इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स भी कह सकते हैं, जहाँ पे यूज किए जाते हैं। इनको कंट्रोल करना, इनको कलेक्ट करने से डेटा और डिसेमिनेट करना इन्फॉर्मेशन प्रॉपर मेथड में, दैट इज द पार्ट ऑफ द थिंग विच इज देयर. And when talking about the IoT device, that is again the second part, sub-component under the OT part. That is basically a smallest component where all the monitors, sensors, actuators, which is contained, and they are running on behalf of PLCs and RPUs and this. PLC is basically programmable logical controllers. ये contents use किए जाते हैं as well. RPUs are there, which is really important. इसकी processing में, इसकी connectivity में, इसकी delaying में, यही important होता है जहाँ पे लोग disrupt करने की कोशिश करते हैं। चाहे आप साउथ या रैमको वाले केस स्टडी कीजिए, या कोई भी ऐसा हो जो OT बेस्ड अटैक्स किए जाते हैं। So now what is here? We are talking about two things. One is OT and one is IT. IT is information technology, which we have studied information, which is the superior, which is the top information technology. इसके अंदर cyber security, cyber technologies and different things are there. So that is one. So while operational technology, when talking about, we're talking about the CIA. But when talking about the second part, that is the ICS. That is the second part. So ICS is something else which is also part of same thing, where we are just focusing on two. तो हमारा जो OT part है, that is basically हम उसमें data information को ज़्यादा focus करते हैं, rather हम talking about the ICS part, we are talking about the availability, जो operations होते हैं वो disrupt ना होने पाए. So these are the some difference, I mean you can say, among between basically IT and ICS part basically, which is there. So now moving ahead, it's a very critical part from an image perspective. If you say about the understanding in a pictorial manner, this reference I've taken from just communicating. I mean, IT and OT के बीच जो कंपोनेंट्स हैं, जो एक ब्रिज है, दैट इज देयर, कि किस लेवल्स में, किस प्रोसेस में, परड्यू टेक्नोलॉजी, परड्यू मॉडल के अनुसार, इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड, कि हम जहाँ पे ओटी की बात करते हैं जो इंट्रा लेवल पे है, और जहाँ पे हम आईटी की बात करते हैं जो बेसिकली कनेक्टिंग है इंटरनेट से, कम्युनिकेशन के लिए, मेथड्स के लिए. सो व्हेन यू रीड अबाउट वेरियस अटैक, जहाँ पे अटैक्स हुए रिमोटली, जहाँ पे अटैक हुआ इंट्रा लेवल पे, जहाँ पे एयर गैप नेटवर्क के अंदर जाकर के कोई मैलिशियस एक्टिविटीज इनिशिएट की गई, या कोई ऑफलाइन अपडेट्स में कोई मैलिशियस कंटेंट डाला गया, या कह लीजिए कि सप्लाई चेन बेस्ड मेथड से कुछ अटैक किए गए, जिसके थ्रू ऐसे अटैक्स, दीज आर द इंडिकेटर्स व्हिच इज देयर इनटू द सेम थिंग. So in the second phase, studied about the terminologies, what exactly is IT and OT part, how OT and IT is differentiate, and I mean when you talk about the differentiation between, that is also we have covered. We have covered some sort of the component which comes under ICS, SCADA and all. Similarly, what exactly is cyber threat intelligence, which we have covered. So now we're just moving to the next level, that is about the CTI. So CTI exactly what? As per the Gartner, एंड वेरियस आई मीन फॉरेस्टर और ऑनलाइन आई मीन रेप्यूटेड प्लेटफॉर्म जहाँ पे हम ये चीज़ स्टडी कर सकते हैं, जहाँ पे हमने नोटिस किया कि एग्जैक्टली ऐसे इंडिकेटर्स, ऐसे एविडेंस बेस्ड नॉलेज, एविडेंस बेस्ड इंडिकेटर्स जो बेसिकली यूज़ किए जाते हैं, विच इज़ शेयर किए जाते हैं, जिसको हम फ्यूज करना, उसे स्टडी करना, पैटर्न स्टडी करना, इंसाइट लेना, एनालिसिस, उसके बाद उस इन्फॉर्मेट करना राइट प्लेटफॉर्म क्रिएट करना या फिर आईओसीज क्रिएट करके शेयर करना. सो वेरियस एंगल्स आर देयर विच इज देयर इन between. So now that is the thing. So when you read the definition, that is called threat intelligence is evidence-based knowledge about existing or emerging menaces of to asset. Like if I'm saying a very simple term, like you working as a 3TI part. So suppose a company called Parle जी and Parle जी का competitor कोई है या Parle जी की कोई website है, Parle जी के कोई ऐसे centers हैं जहाँ पे development चल रही है या फिर कोई ऑपरेशन चल रहा है, उस पे कोई अटैक होना, इंटरनेट पे उसके बारे में कुछ कंटेंट लिखा जाना, इंटरनेट पर कुछ ऐसा एक्सप्लॉइट या ज़ीरो डे या उनकी ईमेल आईडीज़ जो बेसिकली उसमें काम करते हैं या फिर नेटवर्क डायग्राम या कोई चैट या कोई ईमेल का कोई पीएसटी फाइल लीक हो जाना, वेरियस थिंग्स आर देयर. So that information from open source, from the closed source, from the VAPT perspective, from the threat intel perspective collect करके कंपनी को बताना ताकि कंपनी उसको पैच कर सके, कंपनी उसको रिमेडिएशन एंगल में ले सके, अगर कोई लीगल और पॉलिसी एंगल उस पे फोकस कर सके ताकि कंपनी को आप एक सिक्योर मैनर पे रन कर सको, साइबर थ्रेट से बचा सको अर्ली वार्निंग के माध्यम से. दिस इज द एंटायर प्रोसेस इन वेरी सिंपल एंड इन हिंदी लैंग्वेज. सो दैट इज अ बिग इशू. बट अभी क्या है, अभी वी जस्ट फोकसिंग ऑन द टूल्स, we focusing on the various method like yes, we having the sentinel, we having a commercial tool group IB or Mandiant वो हमें feeds देते हैं. Think about how they generate the feeds, think about how they create the signatures, think about how they create I mean kill switch, or you can say how they create some sort of yara rules against in any specific malware. So entire game is here. So you think from your perspective, which is important for the same thing. So in a very simple term, when you talk about the threat intelligence, basically anything likely to cause damage or danger. Anything means like it could be a malware, it could be any vulnerability, it could be data breach, it could be any cyber threat which is caused to damage or danger. Or second, the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skill. If you infuse these both things, that exactly create a threat intelligence. So when you say cyber domain, then it's a cyber threat intelligence. I hope I have cleared in a very simplest manner about this particular thing which is there. But when you talk about today's scenario, what is happening exactly? आप नेट पे जाइए, स्क्रैपिंग कीजिए, कंटेंट डाउन कीजिए, डाउनलोड कीजिए, उसको एक डेटाबेस में शेयर कीजिए, सेव कीजिए, स्क्रीनशॉट लीजिए, डार्क वेब पे डाल दीजिए, अच्छे कंटेंट लिख दीजिए इंग्लिश में और सिंपल. Sometimes this kind of information intelligence leaked on dark web and writing in a very fancy, it leads to yes कि इस कंपनी का डेटा ब्रीच हुआ, डेटा लीक हुआ, या स्क्रीनशॉट्स है. So it is, this is the maximum things where these are happened. This is one. But actual hackers, actual threat hunters, actual attacks, what exactly is happening? जब डेटा ब्रीच होता है, लीक होता है, वो बताते नहीं है. वो पहले तो कोशिश करते हैं रैंसमवेयर चीज़ें, रैंसम माँगना या फिर उन्हें सिक्योरिटी रिपोर्ट करना, जिसको बेसिकली कह सकते हैं एक रिपोर्टिंग करना प्रॉपर मैनर मेथड और मैनर में, ताकि एक अच्छा हॉल ऑफ फेम मिल सके, गुडीज़ मिल सके, कुछ बिटकॉइन्स, बीटीसीज़ पैसे मिल सकें, दैट इज़ अ सेपरेट पार्ट. Any accolades or something like that. But if anything has been leaked on internet or dark web, it creates a sensational news. If same thing came from any big entity like Recorded Future, Cyber Six Jail, Mandiant, or any Solaris or any XYZ big firm, so again it's a national issue. But the question here is like impact करता है. ऐसा कौन सा पैच नहीं किया गया है किसी एप्लीकेशन या किसी प्लगइन में जिसके माध्यम से हम इंट्रूड कर सकते हैं. दीज आर द मैकेनिज्म, दीज आर द मेथड्स. बट इसको इनिशिएट करने के लिए लॉक्स क्रिएट होते हैं. So that is the thing which is in slide, like what exactly is content aggregation management, OSINT, OSIMP and all. And when you're talking about the issue, as per the company called a source called Authenticate. So as per them, like they mentioned, as per the survey, like 34% of respondents didn't have any prior experience with OSINT. मैं कहूँ कि suppose you need to do one thing. You need to restudy or check about your email ID or about your name, about your profile on internet, what you have, I mean, what exactly things are available. So what kind of pattern you are using, which particular browser you are using, which particular search engine you are using, what exactly keyword or phrase or operator you are using, Google Doc you are using. That exactly is the method. Which platform means, like, in which resources you are getting those things, what engine you are using. That is the important thing. Similarly, 85% reported they received little or no training on OSINT techniques. That is also a very big issue in a company. It's not only from Indian perspective, it's an international challenge, international issue as well in a threat intel companies. 55% are venturing into dark web as a part of their OSINT activity 10 or more times per month. That is again the one dark web perspective of int. 38%, approx 40% do not use managed attribution tools to mask or hide their online identities. Tell me one thing, to catch a hacker, to, we have to think like a hacker. We better know. But think yourself, like, I mean, when you create some sort of fake account, sometimes what exactly threat actors do? If you want to create a sort of a dark web, I mean, persona or alias or any handle, generally these are indicators. So when you read about Silk Road or any big dark web based hunting, वो कैसे पकड़े गए? You will read and you will shock with their silly mistakes. So things are, it's not only about the cyber that intel pivoting part. So that is why very important to know exactly this. 29% of report procedures ensure that tools are not being abused by analysts. That is also, and last, very, very important. Like 83% of cyber threat intelligence use web browser as their primary tool. सही कहूँ तो मुझे Google is one of the best tool if you know exactly how to use Google, how to use things, because Google पे सारे resources available हैं, सारे websites available हैं, exactly which websites are good, that is the challenge. Bookmark it, RSS component, dump it, pivot it, read it, sources are there, that is secondary is there. हाँ, आपको कोई framework create करना है ताकि आप analytics कर सकें, that is the operational part. But collecting for the and threat intel part, this is the important thing. And SOT, SOTT. SOTT is basically strategic, operational, technical, tactical. ये content है, ये approach है. इस पे ज़्यादा नहीं, I don't want to be jump into too much because it's a very fundamental thing which is being teach or taught into in various sessions as well. Second, मेरा जो attention करना है is basically hypothesis based things which is there, and what I'm talking about, data breach, डेटा लीक, आईओसीज, टीटीपीज, हम क्या करते हैं अक्सर इंसिडेंट के बाद हम चीजों को फोरेंसिक, जिसे बोलते हैं डेड फोरेंसिक्स और लाइव फोरेंसिक्स. सिमिलरली वी आर कंप्लीटली बेस्ड ऑन हाइपोथेसिस ड्रिवन थिंग्स. अरे ऐसा अटैक हुआ है तो दिस इज देयर. एंड व्हेन टॉकिंग अबाउट द सेकंड पार्ट, एनालिटिक्स एंड machine learning perspective, so that is what, that is about the data set, about anomalies, historical repo, UEB. These are the, I mean, solutions and the methods or frameworks which is there. So my point again here is analytics and machine learning is really important to understand these things. आप समझ सकते हैं कि अगर हमारे पास पैटर्न होंगे किसी रैंसमवेयर के, हाँ, एपीटीज के, अगर कोई नया एपीटी, नया रैंसमवेयर अगर उसी सोर्स कोड, उसी मेथड, उसी टीटीपी को थोड़ा मॉडिफाई करके नए मेथड में आता है तो सिग्नेचर्स हमें, उसके यूज केस हमें, उसके पैटर्न हमें फ्लैग हो जाते हैं. बट अगर हमें यही नहीं मालूम कि उनके डेटा सेट्स क्या है, उनके मेथड्स क्या हैं, सो दैट इज द थिंग विच इज देयर इन दिस एरिया. मैनुअल इंटरवेंशंस आर देयर which is important, like आप कभी नहीं कह सकते कि साइबर ओटी ओपन सोर्स इंटेलिजेंस और थ्रेट इंटेलिजेंस में या किसी भी अटैक्स में वी हैव टू बी completely depend on the solutions. It's also there where we have to manually understand. We have to understand about the customized sensors, customized crawlers, or we have to use some sort of applications to parse the information. We have to create or, I mean, update our APIs as well for processing the information as well. एंड लास्ट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट इज कॉल्ड ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस ऑलवेज विन. मतलब वो कहते नहीं है कि एआई कभी भी ह्यूमन की जगह नहीं ले सकता. मतलब you need some sort of things which human intelligence. So always practical perspective to think about the practical manner, or manual based analysis, or connecting things like discussing things on various platform, discussing information or sharing these things with this. This is very important slide for understanding the threat intel part about the ICT part. And when I'm talking about the components, remember हमने अभी SCADA ICS के बारे में देखा, ICT के बारे में देखा, और हम बात जब करते हैं कि एग्जैक्टली जो मीडियम है, द मीडियम इज कॉल्ड बेसिकली ओटी एंड आईटी का. ओटी ऑफलाइन, आईटी ऑनलाइन. एक सिंपल मेथड माइंड में रखिए, वेयर वी टॉकिंग अबाउट like the information, the data, and the procedures which is there. But I'm talking about the people, softwares, and hardware. So their hardware are the weak point, the last one. Like what kind of inputs you are maintaining, what kind of components that you are containing. So this is the thing which is there. Processors, output devices, communication devices, these are the things which play a role into the ICT part to run these things. And the second which is in front of you, that is called softwares. Softwares again, like आपने notice किया कि जितने भी न्यूज़ के अकॉर्डिंगली और मरीन शिप्स होते हैं, आज भी कहीं कहीं पे विंडोज 98 और विंडोज एक्सपी यूज किया जा रहा है. मतलब that is the situations where means maximum places where this there is no best practices which is being maintained, or they are not connecting. But sometimes if suppose if anything which is done through a internal hacker or maybe insider job, then what happened means like if you have seen like Money Heist series where everything is controlled internally, or like communicating in a proper planning and proper method. So what is happening? So things are there which we need to understand. So now what we need to do, we need to study about the changes which is in front of you, the PPT part. PPT is basically a process, technology, and people, which is important. Capacity building, these are the theoretical portion. We just move ahead. So these are the things which is there. So look, this is for you. We have to understand the attack surface. So attack surface and the threat landscape, that is one. So start with first, that is called abuse of new technology. So remember when you talk about the threat intel part, where I mean attacks are coming from where? If you know these things, that can help. अगर हमें पता है कि exactly कि cloud based attacks हो सकते हैं, या फिर maybe it could be a server based or serverless APIs, or you can say 0 day or something, then this can be work out. Means if you understand the nature of the threats, that will help to counter or narrow down, or to create a good RCA, root cause analysis, which is there. But when if you don't know about the 0 days and APTs, which is latest CVs which is being used to attack, then things are not important. And second is called the weakest link. If you read about the weakest link, this is my beautiful area. The weakest link is called human, or you can say OSI 8th layer. Can you guess what exactly is OSI 8th layer? And don't say like you have read about the 7 layers only. There's one more layer, that is called human layer, human error. So remember, the human error is also very, very important. Like in this case, sometimes lack of awareness, lack of knowledge of any subject in any intra or any OT domain. Sometimes it also creates some sort of issues. Geopolitical new regulation, and these are the some uh, I mean regulation based, or you can say admin based or country specific based, which is not more technical. But these things are there, which is create a issue in the area of threat landscape. Challenges, challenges also there, no doubt. सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज आप समझिए थ्रेट इंटेलिजेंस में होता है फंड का, मनी, दैट इज कॉल्ड पैसा. टू सेट अप सम इन्वायरमेंट, टू टेक सम लीड. आप ये कहिए कि हमने कोई टूल यूज किया बेल का सॉफ्ट, या फिर हमने यूज किया एनकेस. सो वाइल यूजिंग वन टूल, दैट टूल कैन वर्क एज पर देयर एप्लीकेशन एंड द लॉजिक विच इज डिफाइंड और डिजाइन इनटू दैट टूल. अगर वही इमेज, वही हार्ड ड्राइव, अगर हम किसी और टूल, मैग्नेट एक्सियम में, बेलका सॉफ्ट में, ऑटोप्सी में, एन के एस एफ टी के, वट एवर द टूल यू कैन, आप रीड करेंगे, आपको डिफरेंट डिफरेंट रिजल्ट मिलेंगे. Common result is there, no doubt, but some tool can give good result. So that's the same thing happening, like the comparison, the benchmarking. So the third challenge is like हम जब मल्टीपल फीड्स लेते हैं, कहने का मतलब है कि जैसे माइक्रोसॉफ्ट की टीम ने किसी malware को स्टडी किया, they have their sort of analysis report, if any, done by Talis Intelligence, or maybe done by Mandiant, or maybe any XYZ company, Veronis as well. So what is happening? They have their own analysis. So question here is like every team, every expert, every tool having their different methods. So we have to understand exactly the comparison part and collecting information from various things. So first is called monitor, prevent, detect, respond, recover. Various things are there. So when you see from a network security perspective, so prevention is very important. Security operation perspective, response detection is very important. अगर आपको सिंपल भाषा में समझाऊं, एक कंट्री जो इतनी छोटी सी है, वो इतने बड़े कंट्री से क्यों आज तक बची हुई है? क्योंकि उसने अटैकिंग मेथड को ना फोकस करते हुए डिफेंसिव मैकेनिज्म को फोकस किया. So when you good into defense, when you good into detection, when you good into prevention, that is much better than attacking something or maybe into offensive manner. So that is also there. So when you see about Aramco, Saudi-based Aramco ransomware attack, which wiped 35,000 maximum number of hard drives at a single shot, even though ransomware came yesterday itself, which is in news to Ukraine और रशिया के बीच में, which is being used as well. So it's what exactly is it is basically a piece of code that can be impact in my and your or any Indian based entities. So how to study? So if you know the IOCs, which is defined, if the TLPs are green, you'll get everywhere easily. But the TLP is white, I mean sorry, red or something. So it is very different or very tedious. So sometimes collecting through CERT, collecting through companies, collecting through brand monitoring, or you can say threat intel firms, which is there, they are playing important role. So behind who? Behind hunters are there, incident responders are there, forensics professionals are there. IR team basically studying these all things, hunting those things, and creating a high level confidence that yes, this information is really important. So my question to you, think yourself if any attacks has been used through a mobile based application rather a website or any server or any DNS, any plugins or any API. So in that case, if a person is not studying the pattern or TDPs pertaining to mobile area, so then it's a challenge for him to counter or to find or to identifying those information. So update from all the perspective, that is which is very important. And second, this is a prevention perspective which is would like to add here. The best defense start with good open source information. So that is also there. I mean, if a company, if you want, if you have any power sector or any ICT based things are there, threat intel perspective, you should understand exactly कि क्या information publicly available है. क्योंकि जो ब्लू टीम, सॉरी, रेड टीम और ये क्या बोलते हैं, ब्लू टीम जो भी कॉन्सेप्ट है, यह मतलब आज रेड टीम ब्लू टीम है, कल कोई और टीम आ जाएगी, परसों कुछ और, तो ये जो मेथड है ये चलता रहेगा. मतलब दोज हु आर, व्हेन हम जब स्टडी करते थे अपने पर्सपेक्टिव में, तो हमारे सामने ब्लैक हैट व्हाइट हैट हैकर्स, फिर ये अप्रोच हुआ, फिर पर्पल टीम, ऑरेंज टीम, फिर गैप, मतलब टर्म्स आते रहे. द फंडामेंटल थिंग एग्जैक्टली इज व्हाट दिस कॉल्ड डिफेंस एंड ऑफेंस मींस. वही एनमैप, वही कोबाल्ट स्ट्राइक, वही बर्ब सूट आपको डिफेंस के लिए यूज की जाती है, वही प्रिवेंशन के लिए यूज की जाती है, वही अटैक यानी ऑफेंस के लिए, एवरीथिंग. सो इट्स लाइक अ डबल एज स्वॉर्ड. आप उस पर्टिकुलर चीज को कैसे इनिशिएट कर सकते हैं. And talking about the technology, yes, things are there. There are various social networking website, forums, Twitter handles are various deep web, dark web websites, Reddit channels are there. Various communities, SANS and everything which is there, they're also there. And when you read about some latest perspective, commercial feeds are there, commercial methods are there, which is being there. So utilizing the concern and utilizing the open source platform like OpenCTI, MISP, SANS, and everything, Waju, various frameworks are there, which is in knowledge for the same. When I talk about GRR, Google Rapid Response, when I talk about any mandate based or any solutions which is commercial, which is what do you say basically, commercial or open source. So that is also play a very important role for the automation. So what is here? We collecting all the information in terms of this. So let's take one example like a company which is there. You collect all the actionable information which is publicly available. जरूरी नहीं कि अगर कंटेंट या कंपोनेंट नेट से कनेक्टेड नहीं है तो अटैक नहीं हो सकता. आई मीन There could be insider attacks, there could be a USB pen drive based connectivity. Policies mention की रहती हैं कि आपको कोई पेन ड्राइव यूज नहीं करना है. That is on paper. पर while doing a checklist और audit on a practical manner, हम देखते हैं कि वहाँ पे पेन ड्राइव चल रहा है, वहाँ पे प्रिंटर शेयरिंग में है, वहाँ पे जो सर्वर वो अपडेट नहीं हुआ है क्योंकि वो नेट से कनेक्टेड नहीं है, ऑफलाइन अपडेट नहीं हो पा रहे हैं. सप्लाई चेन मेथड में जो वेंडर आ रहा है सप्लाई देने के लिए, ही इज नॉट टेकी साउंड. So various indicators are there in terms of identification or creating a loophole. That is thing. So we have to understand exactly these information, how we can collect, we can process, and we can use for output perspective. So now I'm giving to you task like when you think about any attack which has happened through a data breach or a data set something. So first of all, you should understand exactly who are the potential suspect. आप पहले खुद सोचिए कि सस्पेक्ट कौन से हो सकते हैं. आप एग्जांपल लीजिए, टाटा पावर का ही ले लीजिए एग्जांपल, लाइक रीड एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम इंटरनेट पर्सपेक्टिव. सेकंड, इफ यू नो एग्जैक्टली सस्पेक्ट ये हो सकते हैं, उनके पैटर्न, क्या कभी पहले अटैक हुआ है टाटा पे, ये इन्फॉर्मेशन कौन रखेगा. इन्फॉर्मेशन क्या सर्ट इंडिया रखेगी, ये इन्फॉर्मेशन वह कंपनी जो अभी टाटा को सपोर्ट कर रही है. आई एम पॉइंटिंग टाटा वाई बिकॉज इट्स अ वेरी फ्रेश example. You can take any Radico based, GNPT based attack, Indian oil attack, or different attacks are there. So it's up to you. So that is one. So we should have archival data, which is important. We should, then only we can know exactly कि हाँ यही patterns बार बार आ रहे हैं. सिंपल भाषा में बात करें तो अगर किसी को चोरी करनी है किसी बिल्डिंग में, वो तुरंत जाके चोरी नहीं करता है, प्लानिंग करता है. प्लानिंग कैसे करता है, फिजिकली उस ग्राउंड पे जाता है, चेक करता है कि बिल्डिंग की हाइट कितनी है, कैमरेज कितने हैं, सिक्योरिटी टीम कितनी है, अंदर जाता है, किसी से जॉब करता है, वहाँ पे फाइंड करता है, किसी बंदे को पकड़ता है वहाँ से. एंड दे ट्राई टू नो एग्जैक्टली कि यस, ये व्यक्ति अंदर जाके इस सॉफ्टवेयर पे काम करते हैं, अच्छा ये एंटीवायरस यूज किया जाता है, अच्छा मैंडियन टीम है यहाँ पे, अच्छा ये लोग स्प्लंक यूज करते हैं. देन दे गेट टू नो, दिस कॉल्ड फिजिकल लेवल ऑफ मॉनिटरिंग एंड रिकॉन. जब ये सेम चीज आती है इंटरनेट बेस्ड में, तो आप एनमैप के आगे हाइफन वी हाइफन कैपिटल ओ करके आप बेसिकली लिखते हैं टारगेट, तो वो चीज़ ऑनलाइन आ जाती है. सो थिंग्स आर देयर. जब आपको मालूम होता है वर्जन डिटेक्शन हो गया, तो आप फिर एक्सप्लॉइट के लिए मेटास्प्लॉइट यूज करते हैं, कोबाल्ट मैनुअल भी, हेल्प मेरी, या जो भी आप यूज करते हो. ये बातें चल रही हैं जहाँ पे नेट कनेक्टिविटी मीडियम है. तो सिमिलरली थिंग्स आर देयर वेयर दे डू इनिशिएशन कलेक्टिंग. तो होता क्या है, हम हर बार कुछ इंडिकेटर्स, कुछ पॉइंट, कुछ फुटप्रिंट्स छोड़ जाते हैं. उस फुटप्रिंट्स, उस पॉइंटर्स कहाँ मिलेगी, ये हमारा जानना है. तो सीसीटीवी के सामने वो व्यक्ति बार-बार कौन आ रहा है, किस आईपी से ब मल्टीपल टाइम्स एडी को अटैक किया जा रहा है, मल्टीपल टाइम्स उस पर्टिकुलर एनजिक सर्वर को पॉइंट किया जा रहा है, मल्टीपल टाइम्स फायरवॉल की पॉलिसीज़ को अपग्रेड, डाउनग्रेड या विज़िट की जा रही है, वो किस आईपी से आ रही है, मेथड क्या है. सो वन इज़ कॉल्ड द यूआरएल व्हिच वी गेट इंटू अपाचे एरर लॉग्स, और यू कैन से आईएएस लॉग्स, जहाँ पे चीज़ें मिलती हैं. और कुछ ऐसे होते हैं इवेंट्स जिसको हमें फोकस करना होता है. So that is the thing which is there. Third point is what? When were the incident crimes committed? टाइमलाइन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इसीलिए एनटीपी बेस्ड जो भी नई सर्टेन गाइडलाइंस है, जब डेटा मांगा जाता है किसी कंट्री या किसी डेटा सेंटर से, तो सपोज करिए कोई ऐसा एप्लियंस और डिवाइस है जो बेसिकली यूके बेस्ड, यूएस बेस्ड, और किसी डिफरेंट जीएमटी बेस्ड ऑपरेशंस पे चल रहा है. कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि जो टीम मैनेज करती है, वह मैनेज करने वाली जो टीम होती है वो किसी दूसरे कंट्री की होती है, वो अपने सॉफ्टवेयर से सिंक्रोनाइजेशन करने के लिए, एपीआई से सिंक करने के लिए टाइमलाइन चेंज कर देते हैं. बहुत सारे इश्यूज होते हैं. सो टाइमलाइन इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू नो. सिमिलरली दैट इंसिडेंट लिमिटेड टू विच जुडिक्शन, जो एक स्टेट सब्जेक्ट है. मतलब जैसे महाराष्ट्र में साइबर अटैक हुआ, तो महाराष्ट्र पुलिस वन, सेकेंड सेंट्रल इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसीज और सेंट्रल बॉडीज लाइक एनसीआईपीसी और मे बी सर्ट इंडिया, वो प्ले करते हैं टेक्निकल, लीगल में प्ले करती है महाराष्ट्र पुलिस. तो ये भी जानना जरूरी होता है कि जब ये किसी स्टेट में होता है, तो स्टेट की एलईए सीआईडी टीम होती है, या कोई जो भी उनकी साइबर टीम क्रिएट करती है, दैट इज द स्टेट वन, वो पॉइंट ऑफ कॉन्टैक्ट. देन आईबी, देन मे बी डिफरेंट. सो दैट इज द थिंग विच इज आल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम द टीटीपी. हम टेक्निकल के अलावा बाकी चीज भी जानना कंपलसरी होता है. व्हाट एविडेंस इज देयर टू कलेक्ट. क्वेश्चन यहाँ पे ये है, अब अटैक हुआ साइबर कैफे में, पूरे कंप्यूटर्स उठा के ले जाना इज नॉट अ गुड थिंग. So the good thing is what the storage is, the component which contain data. It's not about the webcam, it's not about the mouse, it's not about the keyboard. So that is also there, which is there. So one is this might physical and digital evidence kahan locate hai ye. What kind of services model which is being used for attack breach method, that is also there. Do they have CCMP plan? No. ये बहुत बड़ा इशू है. What kind of plans they do have? Or do we have PPT practices? Remember that PPT is not presentation. That is about the public process and technology. आप कितना भी टेक्नोलॉजी हाई कर दीजिए और प्रोसेस और पीपल ही इस तरह के नहीं है तो दिस वेस्ट. और बंदा एंथुजियास्ट है, काफी नॉलेज है उस बंदे को, बट पास फंड नहीं है, तो दैट इज वेस्ट. अगर कुछ है, मैन पावर ढंग की नहीं है, देन थिंग्स वेस्ट. सो समटाइम्स दिस इज आल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट टू स्टडी द method which is there. Few slides are also there. Last one. Remember, this is for you. Behind every attack, who, why, and how. If you find the answer of these things, you can do anything. Who was there? This is called attribution. Why? You will get to know the motivation. And how? That it will help to understand the patterns. If you heard कि signatures based analysis, जैसे एंटीवायरस कैसे काम करता है, हमें पता है कि signature based, hybrid soluble based, basically you can say heuristic based, behavior pattern जिसे कहते हैं. तो समटाइम्स दिस इज आल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट टू नो. अब हम जब कभी लॉग स्टडी करते हैं, इवेंट स्टडी करते हैं, अगर हमें कोई आईपी पाकिस्तान की मिलती है, जरूरी नहीं हो पाकिस्तान थ्रेट एक्टर ने इनिशिएट की हो. क्या पता कानपुर में बैठ के खेत में कोई बंदा वीपीएन यूज करके अटैक कर रहा हो, क्या पता कोई चाइनीज थ्रेट एक्टर यूज कर रहा हो, यू नेवर नो एग्जैक्टली. बट द पैटर्न, द मोटिवेशन, द ऑब्जेक्टिव, क्या पता अटैक करके क्या मांगना चाहता है. So multiple angles are there. IP is not only one thing which is limited. Remember always, I'm also trying in law enforcement agencies in India. आईपी और फोन नंबर, ये दो चीज फेक स्पूफ किए जा सकते हैं. अंडरस्टैंड द डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव विच इज देयर. फोकस ऑन साइबर किल्चन प्रैक्टिसेस, माइटर फ्रेमवर्क. यहाँ पे सब चीज प्रॉपरली मेंशन है. रिकॉन में कौन से टूल्स यूज किए जाते हैं. लेट्स टेक वन एग्जांपल विच इज इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू, लाइक क्लाउड बेस्ड अटैक्स एंड थिंग्स आर देयर. अगर मैं बात करता हूँ ऑफिस 365 की, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एक्सेस आर देयर. सो फॉरेंसिक के लिए इनिशियल एक्सेस इन चीजों पे है. मतलब कोई ड्राइव या डाउनलोड कंप्रोमाइज हुआ होगा, मे बी ऑनलाइन यूआरएल ब्राउजर में चेक कीजिए, जो ऑटोमेटेड बेस्ड में कोई ड्रॉपर डाउनलोड हो गया हो, या कोई ऐसा एक्सप्लॉइट जो पब्लिक फेसिंग एप्लीकेशन है, क्या पता कोई सर्वर हो, क्या पता कोई ईमेल हो, क्या पता कोई एसएनएमपी मेल सर्वर हो, क्या पता ओएसटी फाइल जहाँ बेसिकली हम आउटलुक यूज करते हैं, क्या पता anything. Phishing based tactics could be used by mail. Check करो SMS based, mobile based. So there are the polymorphic based modular malware, modular backdoors are there. Modular backdoor means like ऐसा कोई rat जो multiple action perform कर सकता है. क्या पता कोई ऐसा पीडीएफ फाइल जो मैलिशियस नहीं है, बट पीडीएफ फाइल के अंदर जो मैक्रो इनेबल, सॉरी एक्सेल फाइल में जो मैक्रो इनेबल करने के बाद जो सीएनसी क्रिएट होता है, ध्यान दीजिएगा. Excel file जब आया, that is not malicious, but the content, the URL which is mentioned, that is malicious. So if any antivirus solution which is good into DPI, deep packet inspection, or maybe the content जिसको resolve करके check करे कि ये जो content लिखा गया है, क्या पता ये content आपको redirect कर रहा हो malicious CNC से, तो सम टाइम वहां पे फ्लैग होकर के ग्रीन में निकल जाएगा, मतलब वो डिटेक्ट नहीं होगा. पर बाद में क्या पता वो कंटेंट जब क्लिक करने के बाद जब कनेक्टिविटी क्रिएट करे तब वो फ्लैग करे. सो समटाइम्स दिस इज आल्सो देयर टू पैसिव बेस्ड कलेक्शन वेयर दे गेट टू नो किस ब्राउजर से डंप किया गया, आईपी क्या थी, कौन से सॉफ्टवेयर थे, क्या था, मतलब डिपेंड ऑन द थिंग्स. मीन्स आउटबाउंड जितने पैकेट्स और पोर्ट्स हैं उसको प्रॉपरली स्टडी करें. सो दीज आर द मेथड्स वेयर यू कैन फोकस. तो पूरे स्लाइड में दो चीज बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है. एक तो माइटर फ्रेमवर्क फॉर एनी प्लेटफॉर्म, दैट इज आल्सो देयर, कि अटैक्स कैसे होते हैं. दिस इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द फोरेंसिक्स पर्सपेक्टिव. लैटरल मूवमेंट इज आल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट, कि लैटरल मूवमेंट के लिए क्या टैक्टिक्स, पाइवोटिंग के लिए क्या यूज किया गया, दैट इज आल्सो देयर. एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, क्या डेटा चोरी किया है उसने, रैंसमवेयर इंजेक्ट किया है, डबल रैंसमवेयर वाला कॉन्सेप्ट है. तो दैट इज द थिंग विच इज देयर. फिर बाद में आते हैं प्लेयर्स, इंसिडेंट रिस्पॉन्डर्स, फोरेंसिक्स प्रोफेशनल्स. So guys, friends, this is also very important. I mean, you also know because you also studying in know about the forensics part. I don't want to jump too much because if you see from my and your perspective, हम हमेशा नीचे वाले हैं. Means we are the person who does see not only the thing which is available, which can be seen through a naked eyes, but even though we can able to see the thing which is maybe maintained in a slack area, maybe logs, maybe the connectivity, maybe the timeline. Means अगर हम डेस्कटॉप देखते हैं किसी मशीन का, अगर हम लोग कोई फ्रेमवर्क देखते हैं तो हम समझ जाते हैं कि टूल कौन सा है, या फिर इसमें क्या लॉक्स क्रिएट हो सकते हैं, या सोफिस्टिकेटेड है कि नहीं, या यूजर ने क्या क्या अटैकिंग मेथड्स यूज कर रखे हैं. So let's connect with the investigation part of any attack or any incident. Remember, as much as you go in depth, as much you will get to know the root cause basically. So remember, one like alert events, users, network content, application content, data, anomaly, behavior. These are the important pointers. And similarly, we do have the method, which is their techniques, process, threat actors. If you're able to answering these all, if you're able to understand these understanding, so this is very very important. So this you can also read कि अगर कोई थ्रेट का टेक्निक है वो क्या हो सकता है, अगर कोई मेथड है आउटकम आने का वो क्या है, पैटर्न्स क्या हो सकते हैं अटैक के बेसिकली. सो दैट इज, अगर मैं आपसे सिंपल क्वेश्चन कहूँ कि आप मुझे बताइए या होमवर्क कीजिए, or I will give the answer for the same thing. Like, do you know exactly what kind of ransomware attacked in India? What kind of family which is actually attacking to Indian surface? Don't tell me logbit and these are well-known things. Do homework. You'll get to know exactly कि जो attacks India में होते हैं ransomware के completely different है international perspective में. I am talking about attacks in an average manner, not in any individual specific कि चलो हाँ maybe वो कोई अच्छा ransomware है. But maximum if you see average perspective, the answer is completely different. And remember, इन्फॉर्मेशन आपको सोफोस मैंडियन कहीं पे भी नहीं मिलेगी, बिकॉज दीज थिंग्स आर कैप्चर्ड बाय whom, by the I4C cyber crime division in India. These things has been captured by CERT India as well. Sometimes when you see the latest report, you'll get to know exactly which antivirus has been flagged, those things, which kind of ransomwares are there. Let's take one example of ransomware. It's a serious concern. So first of all, the best point, ransomware attack हुआ. Do you think ransomware can be decryptable easily in a very short number of time, or I mean कल हुआ तो 2 महीने में 1 महीने में निकल जाए? So that is a big challenge. So ransomware can come in various formats. Can be come through a phishing email, and an exploit kit which is being in placed. It could be through an infected website, web pages, porno contents, cracked contents. I mean, you can say torrent-based backdoors or something. It could be downloaded by some sort of downloads. कहने का मतलब है कि वो कहीं से भी आ सकता है. सिस्टम में एक बार इंजेक्ट हो जाए, इसके बाद सीएनसी क्रिएट कर सकती है मॉड्यूलर मैलवेयर भेज करके कि इस व्यक्ति से डेटा एक्सफिल्ट्रेट करना है या रैंसमवेयर डिप्लॉय करना है या कलेक्शन करना है क्या. Then when it comes to into the machine, it could be outdated information. It could be impacting to update Java. It could be updating Adobe or any malicious thing which is in Windows. अब हमने अगर Linux यूज किया है, chances are less. हमने अगर ऐसा OS यूज किया है जो बेसिकली कस्टमाइजेबल है, Windows ज़्यादा नहीं है, तो chances are less. That is the reason only the maximum users are Windows based and Android. They are the maximum targets, and the few of them basically are from the Mac and Linux based things which is there. So like the final stages, I mean the components which is there. First, identify assets. If those who are into risk compliance and those who are into the, I mean, privacy perspective, remember these are very very important slide for you. Identify the assets, classify them, and prioritize the value. That is the important thing for the recommendation point of view. Segment the network, which is important for dynamically, which is there. I mean, segment it properly. जैसे मतलब कि 5 phases हमने study किए थे Purdue model में. That is one. Analyze traffic for threats. अब बात करते हैं OT based platform में. So maybe you're not able to analyze the threats because जब connectivity नहीं है, वो internally हो रहा है. So those interceptors or those protocols may not work, which is work in a TCP method basically. रीड अबाउट द वल्नरेबिलिटीज. जब कोई इंडिविजुअल प्रोडक्ट यूज किया जा रहा है, इंडिविजुअल एपीआईज यूज की जा रही है, इंडिविजुअल फर्मवेयर यूज किया जा रहा है जो सिर्फ उसी एंटिटी के लिए है, सो दैट कुड बी exploitable. But again, those who are doing a OT and SCADA based pen testing, that is completely different from the ICS and the VAPT which we are doing for the internet based manner. कंट्रोल आइडेंटिटी एंड एक्सेस मैनेजमेंट, दैट इज द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग विच इज देयर. अभी आपको रीड करेंगे बांग्लादेश बैंकिंग हीस्ट में सब चीज सही था, बट एक ऐसा इंडिकेटर, एक ऐसा कनेक्टिविटी चाहिए था जहाँ पे ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन था उस पास कोड में अपने हैंड को ओपन करने के लिए. तब जाकर के वहाँ पे उस बैंक के एक एम्प्लॉय को मतलब टारगेट किया गया ये चीज करने के लिए, उसको ब्लैकमेल किया गया. बट इट्स अ वेरी interesting case study as well. If you can read, you can read the Bangladesh banking heist, which was a very biggest, I mean, one of the biggest financial fraud which has happened with the help of things which is there. And very important, the last one, secure both wired and wireless access. आपको पता है मिनिस्ट्रीज में वायरलेस, मिनिस्ट्री में वायरलेस कनेक्टिविटीज नहीं होती अक्सर, क्योंकि बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस यूज की जाती हैं. सो जरूरी नहीं कि लोग अपना क्रिएट नहीं कर सकते अपना एक्सेस पॉइंट एक वर्चुअल लेवल पे, एक प्राइवेट लेवल पे. सम टाइम मे बी देयर. सो डू नॉट कनेक्ट दोज थिंग विद द रियल एंटिटी, जैसे हम डीएमजी जोन क्रिएट करते हैं ऐसे करके फाइंड आउट द बेस्ट एपीटीज आर देयर, जो एपीटीज 10 है, एपीटीज 28 48 जो भी हैं, जो आपके फिन है जो इंडियन में अटैक करते हैं या जो इस सेक्टर्स पे अटैक करते हैं, जिनका सिर्फ इतना ही काम है कि सिर्फ ओटी बेस्ड आईसीएस पे अटैक करेंगे, दैट इज द वन थिंग. And when I read about the compliance and IEC 62443, that is very, very important, the checklist, the compliance for the regulation perspective. Similarly, you can read about the other NIST standards framework जो time to time आती रहती हैं, directives which is in public domain. So exercise for this method, which is there, which I have already covered about the collection you should know about, you should know data intelligence part, should know strengthening your team, which is there. Do a conduct red team, blue team exercise. Start with कनेक्टिंग एनवायरनमेंट, देन ओटी एनवायरनमेंट विच इज देयर. सिंक होल क्रिएट करना, सेंसर्स बनाना, हनी पॉट्स करना, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है अगर जो बेसिकली सॉक थर्टिंटल और फॉरेंसिक्स में अपना करियर मूव आउट करना चाहते हैं. एनालाइज दोज बिहेवियर्स एंड अटैक्स, दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. स्किल्ड मैलर फोरेंसिक टीम की जब बात की जाती है, फोरेंसिक टीम इज नॉट ओनली फॉर open a hard drive, imagining it and do these all things. This is again a big subject where जहाँ पर मल्टीपल काम करने पड़ते हैं, इमेजिंग से लेकर, एनालिसिस से लेकर, कॉन्फ़िगरेशन से लेकर, ओपनिंग दैट सीपीयू से लेकर, रिमूविंग दैट हार्ड ड्राइव से लेकर, यू इंस्टॉलिंग एनी एनकेस टूल से लेकर, रीडिंग एक्सपोर्टिंग दोज इम्पॉर्टेंट फुटप्रिंट से लेकर, रिपोर्ट राइटिंग से लेकर, रिपोर्ट राइटिंग में अंग्रेजी से लेकर, ड्राफ्टिंग से लेकर, एवरीथिंग that is a part of a thing. But sometimes the skilled, when we talk about malware, VAPT, mobile based API testing, source code analysis, drone, everything, firmware analysis, so things are there जहाँ पे skills जितना add कर सकते हो, that is there. So that is the information which is there as a multi-skilled perspective. And the last two are basically collaboration. ये basically जैसे सर्ट इंडिया, सर्ट जापान, सर्ट लक्समबर्ग, सर्ट डिफरेंट डिफरेंट कंट्रीज अपने डेटा शेयर करती हैं, आईओसी शेयर करती हैं, ताकि एक सिक्योर साइबर सिक्योरिटी मैकेनिज्म मेंटेन रहे. उस तरह से आईएसएसी डिफाइन की जाती है जहां पर ये डेटा शेयर की जाती है. So this is done from my perspective. Some fundamental things I have covered about the threat part, intel part, OT part, IT part in a fundamental from a cybercrime to cyber security to things. Skill perspective, futuristic perspective, tools perspective, policy perspective, compliance perspective, and the mechanism, which is very very important. If you have any queries, definitely ask. Actually, I have to go. I'm getting a urgent call from my office as well, like because of same incident. So I have to just bind up the session. I'll share the presentation as well, and you can write to me as well. And those who are focusing, so maybe you are from 2 and 3rd forensic team, or maybe from cyber professionals. Also, kind link with law enforcement and legal team. That is also important area to study and study. And last, very very important. That is my 2 cent. Don't believe in marketing hype regarding cyber threat safety or anything. Or like we spend this number of vendor product, we are safe. Any tool is a tool basically जो मैं आप या कोई company ही define करती है. So thank you once again NFSU, and thank you the organizers and the participant who listened me through this platform. And मुझे मैंने information share की. If you have anything, please let me know. I'll take your queries and email or something. So done from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deepak sir. Anyone having any kind of question, then they can write into the chat box, or they can unmute themselves and they can ask the question. We'll wait for 2 minutes.
They will having, I mean, in future. So please, I mean, you may write or you may discuss. Even I'm also learning things. ये भी एक अच्छा important domain है forensics में भी और threat intel domain में जो काफी improvise कर रहा है. And I'm also reading things as well, reading the case studies, which is very very important. As much as we read the case studies, that really helps, and that is the beauty of forensics and threat intelligence. So I would like to take.
Deepak ji,
Deepak,
Deepak,
Dr.
I have
Deepak.
one question.
Yeah, can you provide me some case studies which I can discuss with the student in class if you have a real case studies in recent time if you have got?
Yeah, definitely. I will share one case content I have published in my blog spot, that is oil gas based thing. That is, I will share in URL one, and some case studies which is there I will share with you, Pankaj sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
My question is, Deepak, if someone has have done the ransomware attack, whatever the encryptions they are using, why cannot we cannot have a decrypt code? Because the encryption, whatever the decrypt key, if we buy from internationally, we can save the organization apart of giving any ransom money to the ransom.
It is very good question, first of all, and just for your knowledge purpose, in India, like a kind of task force which is being
CRT
creating,
is
like
not
we are
doing so. I
creating.
knows that they are not updating this side. That I knows. But international prospect, the we can get from the UN securities as a free or subsequently the that ICCM 7, that a conference which has been had to have a tie-up between the countries to share the data. Because if we can have all the encryption and decrypt keys, as also the government have issues that all the Indian companies and Austrians who are working in India has to be give a decrypt key to the ministry. So we can, I think, we can fight it against of ransomware in near future. Are you
Yeah,
agree?
that is a very good suggestion. The question here is like we better know about the countries. Country जैसे हमने यूएस के साथ या किसी और कंट्री के साथ अगर हम कोई एमओयू या बेसिकली कोई हम करार या कोई ऐसा कुछ करते हैं, सो अक्सर होता क्या है कि दे आर वेरी शार्प, इवन दे एक्सपेक्टिंग समथिंग फ्रॉम अस, लाइक आपको तो हम कीज दे देंगे बिकॉज दे हैव देयर इंटेल टीम, दे हैव इन नॉट दैट इंटेलिजेंस, इंटेल जैसे मैकेफी या फिर कैस्पर्सकी, जिन्होंने नो मोर रैंसमवेयर पे आप व्हेन यू रीड द यूरोपोल का या फिर नो मोर रैंसमवेयर, जो भी एमसिस सॉफ्ट है, जितने भी ये कंपनीज और जो थ्रेड इंटेल टीम है, ये अपनी टीम में फंड लगा करके एक हैकर से नेगोशिएट करके या फिर किस वजह से की जनरेट करते हैं विद द हेल्प ऑफ टेक्निकल थिंग, विद द हेल्प ऑफ मैनुअल थिंग। वो चीज अगर यूएस हमें फ्री में देगी तो दैट इज अ कंसर्न, बट अगेन वी हैव
I
टू कम
think
इन सच प्लेस लाइक
you can you can place this thing before the ministry. You are in the best place to.
डेफिनेटली। आपने मुझे जो बताया आई हैव वो मेरे माइंड में है। और अभी जब रिसेंटली रैंसमवेयर टास्क फोर्स, यूएस की बात नहीं कर, इंडिया की हम बात कर रहे हैं, इंडिया ने भी सेम उसी मेथड में वी आर क्रिएटिंग, बट द क्वेश्चन हियर इज लाइक इट इज नॉट ऑलवेज अबाउट द टेक्निकल थिंग्स। समटाइम द की विच दे आर sharing to us, maybe that is I mean impacting to few of the ransomwares, but those who are coming, आज हर दिन देखिए लगभग 1000 से 1800 रैंडम मैनर में ऐसे रैंसमवेयर्स, ऐसे प्लेटफॉर्म्स, ओपन सोर्स क्लोज फॉर्म्स में लोग स्टडी पर्सपेक्टिव में कहीं पे भी किसी को अटैक किए जा रहे हैं। पर जो मेजर जो है लॉग बिट या जैसे दुनिया भर के हैं, दैट इज अ सेपरेट, तो उनका मिलना
सिक्योरिटी
बहुत इशू रहता है।
सिक्योरिटी पर्सन को अगर टेस्ट करने के लिए मिल जाए, आज अगर हम लोग सिक्योरिटी फॉलोअर्स को मिल जाए, तो वी कैन टेस्ट, we can use the two encryption keys to decrypt something or to encrypt something. It can be two effect, coin having a two side effects.
Yes. Anyway, so I got your concern. I will take this as a important valid pointer. I would like, I mean, kindly connect with me again in person. I will discuss. Definitely, your point is really well
I will
taken.
give you a LinkedIn. I will mark you on LinkedIn. No issues. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
If anyone having a question, then they can unmute themselves and they can ask. We already released the permission for the same. I think, sir, no one having any kind of question. So we can conclude our today's session. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your time. We are expecting you to take more session to the NFSU students physically as well. If time
Thank you,
permits to
sir.
you, then we are
Definitely, sir. मुझे काफी
always
अच्छा
ready
लगता
to
है.
host you here.
Definitely, or if anything, if anybody would like to be assist me or sharing information as a volunteer manner, even though to Ministry of Home Affairs in the area of cyber security, cyber crime, or any emerging cyber threats, or anything which you would like to place, which can help to state or central agency. So most welcome, because I'm the heading of that threat intel and cyber forensics team in I4C, and me myself learning from you and the faculties and various organizations in the both areas. So that is from my side. I'm just sharing my details again in chat box, so you can just save, and definitely no knowledge sharing would be there.
We received your details, sir, into the chat box.
Done. I'll
At
just
the end
click
of
this.
the session, we will also share these details to our students of our campus. So they
Sure,
will
sure.
definitely get in touch with you if anyone having any kind of need then. Thank you very much, sir, again.
Thank you once
So
again. I'm
we are
sharing that
concluding the today's
one.
sessions.
Yeah, I'm just sharing one case study on the chat, like which I was discussing, which I wrote in 2017 actually. I'm not sure,
Okay.
maybe this is helpful, but this can give some pointers as well. This is about the oil and gas industry, basically attacks. That's in a very simple manner what kind of method which is being used and the things which is there. Thank you once again to all the participants, and it was really great to discuss with you. And if any something, please may write to me. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, Harsh and Pankaj sir.